Alright, welcome to the video 2 of the ETD tutorial, talking about styles. In this video we're going to discuss what are the styles, basically defining them. We're going to talk about how we would apply the styles, how we modify styles, when should we use the styles, and what are some of the benefits of the use of styles. So if we're looking at a document like this, we notice that there are normal text found here, but we also notice that there's other styles in this list that aren't normal. What are these for? Well, headings basically represent titles, and first, if we define styles, we would say that Word uses styles to make a distinction between titles and normal body text, and they also use use styles rather, to assign visual attributes to different forms of text. For instance, there's a couple of ways to modify a group of text. You could, if you had a bunch of text here, let's say we had a paragraph or something like that here, you could go up here and highlight this paragraph, right? And you could say, I want to tab it in one time. Maybe this is like a block quote or something like that. And then down here, we want to reverse that and go back just to normal. Now you'll notice when I did that, Word automatically knew that the visual attributes I had assigned to this group of text here was that of a new style. There was no style like that in the list. So it made one called left 0.5 inches, which is basically the tab. Now, when I took the tab away, the visual attributes that were present were aligned with another style already in the document called normal. So it automatically assigned this back to normal. Now, that's basically what Word does. Even if this task pane was closed and these styles weren't here and you couldn't see them, Word is creating them and basically doing this all the time. Now, how do we harness this? I mean, nobody likes Word to do everything automatically. So what we can do to make this a little bit better is we can undo this style by simply saying delete. And we say yes. You'll notice Word automatically set this group of text back to normal. That's its default style, is normal. And if we wanted to have this group of text indented 1/2 inch, pretty easy to do. We can go up here and click New Style. We can name the style. I'm going to name this one Block. Notice the styles based on the normal style, which we'll explain that in just a moment. And we're going to tell it to tab in 1/2 inch. So we click OK. We highlight our group of text that we want to modify. Noticing, by the way, that I'm modifying a group of text that are between two hard returns. I have one hard return here and another hard return here. I can only modify with a style between two hard returns. So I click Block, and nothing happens. Now that's interesting. Why is that? I mean, what happened? Basically, Word can only apply the visual attributes to an entire group of text. There can be no discrepancies as far as the style in a group of text. And if you come right in here, you'll notice that that period at the end of the paragraph is still normal. This is a common mistake that people make. You have to make sure that when you highlight something to apply a style to it, that you actually apply it to the entire group, including the little period at the end. If I click it again to include the period, you'll notice that Word went ahead and applied all the attributes and everything works fine. So that's basically how you apply a style. You highlight a group of text and you click the appropriate style that you've created to assign the visual attributes that you're looking for. Now, styles don't just maintain the visual attributes. Styles are also used to distinguish, like I said earlier, titles from normal just blocks of text. For instance, if here I said text content would be here was highlighted, and I wanted to tell Word that's a title of a section, I would highlight it and then click on heading 1. Now you'll notice that it did, while it took the visual attributes of heading 1 in to itself, it also applied this little dot off to the left. Now that's a little tag. That tells Word that this is a title. Okay, and this title is higher than a level 2 title, which would be a heading 2 and a heading 3 and so on. So if I had a subheading here, let's say, and this is a subheading of, say, this block quote, I could highlight that and call that heading 2. Now you'll notice that it took the visual attributes also. If I go back and highlight these, You'll notice up here it says heading 1, also over here it says heading 1, and here it says heading 2, and also up here it says heading 2. Okay? These groups of text also maintain block and normal. Alright? And what we have now is we've told Word we have a title, we have a subtitle, we have a block quote, and we also have a group of text. This is going to come in handy when you create your table of contents. If I was to, for instance, go down here, and let's say I was going to create a table of contents right now, which we're going to discuss this in a later video, but if I wanted to create a table of contents very quickly based on what I've already done, I could do that. All I have to do is put my cursor somewhere and say insert reference indexes and tables, table of contents. You'll notice here Word knows I'm looking for heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. If I click OK, there are those two titles that I highlighted earlier and assigned these heading styles to. That's essentially how that works. Now there's other benefits to using styles beyond just creating a table of contents. When I was talking about maintaining different types of styles throughout the document, like your block quote here and your normal text, having all these as styles makes it very easy to go back and change the visual attributes for groups of text. Let's say, for instance, that I've created a bunch of block quotes throughout my document, and I've applied the block style to all of those block quotes. It would be very easy for me to go back and highlight every single block quote in the document and have to go in here and modify them one at a time. That would be difficult, right? It wouldn't be easy, it would be difficult. Now, what would be easier would be to go over here to where it says block, click this arrow, and click modify. Now, in here you'll notice I have all the same options that I have up here, okay? All the same options. I can go in here, I can change the font color to blue if I want to. I could double space that, anything I want to do. When I click OK, everything that was highlighted and assigned the block style changes to match everything in the document. Okay? Now, let's say I wanted to double space everything. Now, a common trait that people will follow is they will come in and they'll highlight everything in the document like this, and they'll go up here to the top, and they'll click on the space thing, and they'll say 2.5 inches. Now, you'll notice everything over here in the styles menu just went completely wacko. The reason? Because I went up here and applied a manual style to a group of text that already had styles applied to it. Okay? And what Word has to do to keep track of everything is it has to create a new style for everything that I just did. All these new styles just appeared. Now let's undo that really quick. Okay? Let's do this the right way. How would we do this? Well, we know we have heading 1, heading 2, and normal and block quotes in our document. If I go to normal, and I say modify, and I tell it to be double spaced in here and click OK, everything just went double spaced except for the two heading styles. Everything in the document just went double spaced. Now, why is that? Well, normal, block, and clear formatting, if you go in here to any one of these and you click modify, you'll notice they'll all say style based on normal. Anything that's based on a parent style, like normal, okay, will modify itself to be aligned with that parent style. So it cascades down. All of the changes cascade themselves down. If I was to go in here and click modify and say I want everything normal to be orange, notice block stayed blue because block was assigned a color. This basically means that if you apply a visual attributes to the parent style, it's going to change all the other styles that would be associated with it, okay, except for those styles where you have gone in and specifically specified a visual attribute that may contradict with whatever visual attribute you've set. For instance, I could go in and set block, okay, I could go in here and set block to be automatic, and it's going to go back to black because black is a default style for Word. Now, if I go back in here to normal and do the same thing, notice everything else went black as well. So these are powerful tools that you can use without having to go into your paper and do any highlighting and changing of using of these tools up here at all. You can go in here and do it in the styles much more precisely and with much more predictability than you would going into the document and doing it there. Basically, just to reiterate again, when we use styles, titles want to be heading 1s, our subtitles want to be heading 2s, and maybe a subtitle to a heading 2 would be a heading 3, and so on. Everything else is going to be normal, okay? And any special styles that you want to create, you can do by clicking New Style, coming in, naming the style, setting all the visual attributes, and clicking OK. And the style will show up just like the block quote here. Now from this, we basically know that styles are used for maintaining the differences between types of text in the document. They're used for distinguishing the titles of different things in the document and distinguishing those titles from normal text that would not occur in our table of contents or in our bookmarks in our PDF file. But they're also used for creating the table of contents, as I demonstrated earlier, and they're used by Adobe Acrobat to create the bookmarks automatically. Now in a later video we'll get into more detail about how to modify not only the table of contents but also how Adobe Acrobat will actually use the styles to create the bookmarks in the correct order and magnitude that you're looking for your paper. But this pretty much concludes everything you would need to know about the styles to do your electronic thesis and dissertation. Now when we move on to video 3, we're going to talk about creating the table of contents. We're going to use a lot of the styles techniques that we've learned in this video, and we're going to get more detailed into actually creating this table of contents and also how to modify this table of contents to meet the visual attributes that you may have for your document.